Hello and welcome everyone to Screenworks. I'm John Uriarte, curator of the digital programs at the Photographers Gallery in London. Screenworks is a program of fortnightly live streams launched by Fotomuseum Winterthur in Switzerland and the Photographers Gallery in London, supported by Pro Helvetia. Every 2 weeks, we invite artists, researchers, or curators to take over our screens to visit the spaces where the artistic practice takes place and share the work process behind it. Each event has a different format that takes the audience into a particular digital space. Some screenwalks have been quite performative, such as the one that we will have today. Some others have taken us behind the screens of the artists, or some others have turned into a collaborative online happening. If you have missed any of our previous events, please visit our website, screenworks.com, or our YouTube channels to watch the recordings of them. Before we start, some housekeeping information. Your microphone should be muted to avoid noise disturbances. If that's not the case, please mute them now. And as I just mentioned, we are recording and will be archiving this event, so please turn off your camera if you don't want to be recorded. And also feel free to use the public chat to send any question you might have to Laura, or alternatively, you can also send a private message to Marco or to me.
And hello from me too. I'm Marco De Mutis, digital curator at Fotomuseum Winterthur. Today, we embark on a journey through online communities of Facebook groups. Facebook, the veteran social media platform counting roughly 2.89 billion active users today, introduced groups in 2010. Since then, the platform has increasingly focused on the strengthening of online communities. In 2017, Mark Zuckerberg announced Facebook had decided to change the company's mission statement from make the world more open and connected to give people the power to build community. These and other online spaces of exchange and network relationships have in recent years affected and even disrupted information systems, political events, and financial organizations. From the Arab Spring uprisings to the spread of conspiracy theories, from Reddit investors taking down Wall Street to the coordinated United States Capitol attack. All of these revolved around strong online communities existing in different pockets of the internet. Yet network social spaces allow people with similar interests and views to connect globally and also to support each other and provide emotional connections among users. With the restrictions imposed by lockdown measures across the world in the spring of 2020, online social places became even more important meeting spaces. With forced isolation for a prolonged amount of time, many people turned to online groups to socialize in absence of physical alternatives. On April 15th, 2020, Twitter user Agas Ramirez uploaded screenshots of a Facebook group named "A Group Where We All Pretend to Be Ants in an Ant Colony," with the caption, "Quarantine Day 31. I joined a Facebook group where we all pretend to be ants in an ant colony." The group is just one of many which are part of a subculture of Facebook groups where users all role play being someone or something else. These groups exploded in popularity during the initial spread of the pandemic last year, with "A Group Where We All Pretend to Be Ants in an Ant Colony" reaching more than 1.8 million members, and many other spaces quickly following. Moths, fish, soccer moms, cats, boomers, goats, an army of penguins, leaves on a tree, dinosaurs. There are countless spaces for roleplay where we all pretend to be something, and each group acts according to different social rules, with specific image aesthetics and defined linguistic conventions. Today, to take us on this journey through this online world in all its beauty, mystery, emotional power, and oddity, we take a screen walk with Laura Paloma. Laura Paloma is an artist and writer based in Biel in Switzerland. She has written multilingual short stories about love, loss, and the live stream. She thinks of her texts as fan fictions or fever dreams. Her artistic practice questions the relationship between image, object, text, narrative, language, and play. And her life goal is to become a text generator. Dear Laura, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. The screen is yours.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Marco, for inviting me. Thank you also to your respective photographic institutions. Also, thank you to everybody who's in the Zoom and also to everybody who is watching the live stream. I made a performance for this screen walk. It is 28 minutes long. And it's the story of an ant called Tiny Boy who one day decides to venture out into the metaverse, a place that was previously called Facebook. Okay, so here we go. See you on the other side. Sorry.
What is this? A center for ants? What is this? A center for ants? The center has to be at least 3 times bigger than this. Center for ants? 3 times bigger than this. What is this? A center for ants? Center for ants? Ants! times bigger than this. 3 times bigger. At least 3 times bigger than this. 3 times bigger. 3 times bigger than this. 3 times bigger. 3 times bigger than this. 3 times bigger. Work. 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 This is work. This is work. This is work. This is a message from our queen. This is a message from our queen. This is a message from our queen. This is a message from our queen.
We work, you dig. If you don't dig, then you lift. If you don't lift, then you scout. If you don't scout, protect the queen. 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 Protect the queen. 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 queen. When you scout, search, you find, you search. 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 What do you find? Whatever you search for. What do you search for? Whatever you find. What do you search? What do you search for? Whatever you find. What do you find? Whatever you search for. Protect the queen. 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 Protect the queen. 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 queen. Work. 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 This is work. This is work. This is work. message from our queen. This is a message from our queen. This is a message from our queen. This is a message from our queen.
We work, you dig. If you don't dig, then you lift. If you don't lift, then you scout. If you don't scout, protect the queen. 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 Protect the queen. 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 queen.
And when you scout, search, you find, you search. And when you scout, search, you find, you search. And when you scout, search, you find, you search. And when you scout, search, you find, you search. What do you find? Whatever you search for. What do you search for? Whatever you find. What do you search? What do you search for? Whatever you find. What do you find? Whatever you search for.
Protect the queen. 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 Protect the queen. 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 queen.
Thank you so much, Laura, for an amazing, playful, and super fun performance that we just watched. And
So many emotions, so many questions.
Thank you also for everyone who has been commenting on the chat and sending some eggs and lifts. I think it's been a great performance. I've seen also some comments saying how the song is going to stick into our heads for years, which I agree with. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm sure people have lots of questions, and please do write them in the chat, and then we'll bring them to Laura. But maybe, you know, we can start a little bit a conversation about, well, first of all, like, how did you end up in these groups, and how did it all start for you?
I think it started with there's a podcast episode from Reply All, and then there's also several articles that have been written about these Facebook groups, and I read them, and I started joining these groups, and first for fun, and then I started researching them and documenting them more, and now I've joined about like 16 groups. Yes. And if you want the links to the podcast and to the articles, I can also send it to you in the chat.
Please, that's always welcome, yes.
Yeah, that will be quite welcome. And what are the similarities that you have found in between the groups? What could be like, what are the highlights that you could explain us that go across pretending to be an ant, a fish, a piece of bread, or a dinosaur?
Okay, send this. Oh no, I just sent it to, oh, sorry. Everyone in this meeting. Okay. So I think the most popular group is the ant group. And in the ant group, they have this very, as you can see, it's a very specific way of working together, and also commenting the different actions and the way of speaking. So I think this is very specific to the ant group. And then what I started discovering is that each group has their own either codes or languages and way of writing. Also, some groups, well, for example, the fish group will say blub, and it's very image based. So at first I thought, okay, these are only meme pages, people just sharing fish related content and fish memes. But of course, there was a little bit more to the fish group. There's the blub. And then there's, well, the soccer moms and the middle-aged dads are groups that I realized were also more written groups. So the middle-aged, so the soccer moms will often post long messages. And so it's a little bit less images, but more written. So the language that they've developed of, I think, the cliche Southern soccer mom, Christian, taking care of her kids. And so they will just mimic that same way of writing, that same those same activities. And recently I joined the moth group, and I was surprised to see that the moths also have their distinct way of communicating with each other. So they will write with accents on the letters and use umlaut, for example, which is very funny to see. And so I think each group is very specific, and it's hard to generalize. But what you can say, and what makes me laugh, and what I thought was so interesting, is that the names of the groups, right, are very similar. Like a group where we all pretend to be, a group where we all pretend to be, but then what happens within these groups is very different. And they each have their own community and culture. But then you also saw in my performance that you also have groups like a group where you can only say egg, a group where you can only say meow, a group where you can only say. So then these groups, I don't know, I haven't decided if I consider them part of like one big pretend group, or if these are like separate categories. Yeah.
Well, one thing that struck me is the fact that so all of this group kind of rely on the fact that we role play something very simple, right? So even to the extent that it's so simple that it's also this constriction, you can only say exactly one word. But what do you think it's the allure? Like we've discussed this, right? Like what is this what's the attraction, you think, for people to join groups like that? Is it escapism, or trying to, you know, be someone that you're not? Or is it kind of connected to a sense of comfort in not having the complexities of contemporary life and during the pandemic, and having like a space that it's very simple on top of this kind of community of people?
So I think there are many reasons, and it was easier for me to answer that question when I first joined the groups. Now, because I see this, because I've been working on this for a long time, or every day, I see this so often that it becomes like normal to me, and it's hard to tell like what makes it. It becomes like it's just super normal to see this and to reply all these things. So it's hard for me to say like, oh, it's this. But I think what is funny about it is the repetition of the joke. Because you will go on Facebook and it's the same joke every time. It's the same joke every day. It's the lift, the crumbs. Some posts are more original, so some posts are more exciting. So for example, the dead ant, I hadn't seen that before. So no wonder it got so many likes, because when people make a little variant that hasn't been seen before because it's super popular, but then most of the posts are always the same, like, oh, I'm a new ant, or help me lift this. And in all the groups. So I think that's what kind of makes it so silly and so funny, is that you're always saying the same thing. If it's corn, then it's just obsession with corn. If it's the opossums, like you never get tired of seeing the same meme.
Mm-hmm. The joke literally never gets old.
And what I also thought was interesting is that you're make-believing, right? I'm pretending to be an ant, but at the same time, I'm also pretending to be a community. So this idea of community is like, we're all ants, but we're also pretending to be a community, and so I think it's like this double layer of, I'm pretending to be an ant, and also, hi fellow ants, hi family, like the group where we all pretend to be a family. So we're also making believe like this idea that we're all in this together and we're all doing the same thing and we're all the same. Because of course, in the rules of the groups, you can't contact these people. Like you're not allowed to write the messages. So you're not going to start a relationship with the other ants in a different way. You can only have this contact through the comments and the posting.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring up a question from the chat. While the collection asks, do you experience a specific kind of people in these groups, though they are very limited in their vocabulary in each group?
When I was researching this one YouTube video that I sent you, how an ant group took over Facebook. This YouTube video is one of the admins who's talking about his job as an admin in the ant group, and the way he talks about it. And of course, you get this feeling, and also the other videos that I've seen of people who are in these groups. I think you think these are mostly like young adults, like teenagers or people who started college, so younger people. And also the posts, some of them say like, oh, I just got back from classes, I'm in my dorm. So it feels like it's that age group, but I wouldn't generalize, because there are lots of older people on there too. And it's hard to say, because I think lots of people create fake accounts to join these groups. And so most of these accounts have no friends. And so it's hard to tell like who we're dealing with. But I haven't researched that, so I don't know. And also what I want to say is that, yes, that's it. I might remember.
I was also curious to know, why do you think that these groups happen specifically in Facebook? Is it related to the design of the platform itself? Is it also related maybe to the politics of the platform, in the sense of like all the criticism that has gathered, like, let's say, Facebook with recent whistleblowing staff members that they had, and I'm not sure what would be like the main reason, because I mean, on one hand feels like an abandoned space where having fun role playing will be harmless, because you are role playing, so you are not showing your own like identity, let's say. And on the other hand, it seems that the design of the platform itself is quite useful to perform these games, or these community games.
Yes, I was talking about this with a friend, and then I realized that most young people, right? So Facebook is apparently dead for the younger generation, because they're on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat. But then but then I think lots of people in these groups actually created new Facebook accounts or Facebook accounts to join them. And it's funny to think that Facebook is a platform that will allow this kind of interaction, right? Because on Instagram or TikTok, you can't like create these groups, and you can't. I don't think you can have this type of interaction, right? And so it is funny that Facebook has been used this way. Also, Facebook changed their they changed the platform a few years ago, I think it's 2017, where they made groups like really easy to, like the center of Facebook, and it's really easy to create groups, it's really easy to access them. And so I think that influenced it a lot. Mm-hmm. Also, it's kind of like this very creepy thing where if you create a group, like it's private, and you can also like, I tried creating a group, you can choose like what type of people can join your group, like based on gender, based on age, based on location. And so it's like a very easy way to create spaces that are moderated by these admins. So they are in charge of what happens in these groups and what can be seen in these groups. So it's just like a kind of, I think, more or less secret space, yeah.
And thanks. We have another question, this time from Liv, who asks, how do you see these groups happening in the metaverse, or what they represent?
Well, I'm not familiar enough with the metaverse and what it represents and what it means. So I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. Maybe someone else knows what the metaverse will bring.
I think the metaverse is a bomb that has just been dropped in the chat. And also, I think we're talking about the new Facebook metaverse, not the other idea of the metaverse that was there before, I guess. But mostly this kind of VR idea of social places that has been launched a couple of weeks ago.
Well, if we're talking about VR, I don't know how that would affect the groups, but right now I think they function based on this like image, comment, text thing. Because then it would change the role play, it would change the way the group functions completely. Mm. And now I think what is curious about it is like it's a type of role play that's very specific, because you're not developing a very complex character, or there's no like overarching narrative or decisions that you need to make based on the other players. It's very much just like there are like things can happen, like people can say I'm an ant eater in the ant group and the ants will freak out, or things can happen to like the narrative of the ant group, and the ants have taken over other Facebook groups, or the ants have the ant eaters have entered the ant group, so they do like kind of interact with each other, and some groups like won't allow ant to talk or things like that. Mm-hmm. But I do think it's a very special way of role playing. Yeah.
And what is the role of the images on those groups? Because as far as I understand, they function as some sort of way of conversation starters, or like starting like the provocation to start performing a role. Is that like the main role of the images on the groups?
Yeah, so you have like stock images, memes. So it's like you're bringing it to the group and you're suggesting something, and then people will also use a lot of emojis or GIFs. And sometimes I think it's about like bringing the funniest emoji, or not the funniest emoji, but like bringing the funniest GIF that people haven't seen yet, like funniest ant GIF that will get more likes, or the funniest meme, because it's always like content related to the specific characters.
Which I think it's also interesting, going back to this question of the metaverse or VR somehow, right? Like on one side, there seems to be this idea of building communities that is more and more immersive and more photorealistic in its CGI and everything. And then here, all these groups kind of point to the opposite direction, right? Like the simplicity of it, even these images that are very also poor in resolution, or with watermarks on top of them. It's a completely different idea of a community building that they want, that is being almost enforced upon from Zuckerberg and Facebook, and this new launch of the metaverse that we heard.
Yeah, because I think it's funny because you talk a lot about Instagrammable pictures and photorealism and things becoming more beautiful and more aesthetic. But the surprising thing about these groups is that it really looks like trash, and it's just people like posting trash, like what picture is the trashiest, basically. Like you're not going to get more likes because your picture is beautiful. And I think that's also the funny thing about it is that at the same time these people are on Instagram consuming different type of images, and here is just the worst quality stock image or meme that you can find is fine, like it's fine. So I think.
And I see that you already converted a few people from the community in Zoom. Some of them already changed their name into Moth and Egg. And some of them, we've seen them commenting according to the guidelines of the different communities. So I think some of these groups resonated, at least with some people. I want to ask you, which one is your favorite group? Now that like you've been kind of working with these groups where you've also been living in them, role-playing in all of them. Do you have one where you kind of really connected with?
I do like the fish, because I joined the fish. One of the first groups that I joined was the fish group, and also we went through a crisis moment together as a fish group, because 1 month after I joined, one of the admins changed the fish group name to, instead of being a group where we all pretend to be fish, a group where we all support each other emotionally. And so then everybody freaked out because we didn't know if we were fish or if we were supporting each other emotionally or if we were emotionally supported fish. And so that was a moment of confusion, and which resulted in lots of memes. Like I'm sure the fish group was kind of quiet, and then this drama happened, and then there was a lot of uproar and reaction because of this emotionally supported fish. And I'm sure many people quit the group, but the admin told everyone to keep calm and wait till the end of the month when they would change the name back to a group where all pretend to be fish. And then instead, I think there were too many like reporting in the group happening. So then they created a new group called the group where all pretend to be fish 2. That's the one that I showed you. Yeah. I like the fish group, yeah. And the soccer moms are also kind of funny because they write more text and they get into character, but they always say the same things. So I think that one makes me laugh also. Yeah.
And besides the admins, are there any different roles between like among the community, in the sense of like, for instance, with ants, we had this song of Protect the Queen. Is there a queen? Is there like does like everyone have the same status, or can you find groups in which there are certain characters that have higher, lower, or different status or classes?
I think it's very much like admins on top, doing the content moderation, and then everybody else, like in the ant group, you can say that you can give yourself an ant number. You can write into the group, I'm doing this, I live here, I live in this ant hill, I'm numbered, blah, blah, blah. My function is this. Like you can proclaim yourself, you can create your own character, and everybody will be fine with that, as long as you don't say I'm the queen, because I think you can get like kicked out of the group if you say that you're the queen. But I think the other groups, like I said, like you can say, oh, I'm this soccer mom, my name is blah, blah, blah. And you can write that in the group, and I think most people will be fine with you proclaiming something, but you can't have that role of an admin. Well, I heard that in some groups you could like apply to become an admin and send an application, and then they would accept you, and then you had that role as a content moderator. So the YouTube video that I sent you is a content moderator talking, and I think it's a pretty hard job because they have to accept all these posts, and they see a lot of things they don't want to see, and they see a lot of like content that is bad or racist or sexist or many things. Yeah.
Thanks. We have a question from Kevin in the chat asking if you've ever met one of your online ant friends offline for some crumbs in the park or something.
So I did not meet any of my ant friends because like I said, you can't really write to them. And so it's really much like you see their Facebook names and their profile, and you just comment. And sometimes you see people who have been commenting a lot and you kind of recognize them because they write a lot, they post a lot. But I did recently find out that one of my friends, Sophia, is also part of this ant group and also part of different other Facebook groups like a group where we all pretend it's 1450 something, some historical group. She's a geek.
And does that change?
So that was funny.
Does that change something? You know, like.
Well, it does change the, like, I did think about it, like it made me like think, oh, she's one of like the 15.6 thousand people, like that's crazy, like I don't know, but no. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, by the way, also I wanted to clarify because, you know, this famous basically group, this group where we all pretend to be an anti-internet colony that came out in last year, reached 1.8 million members. But then the one that you showed is like a smaller group, but with the same name, right?
Yeah, so they have many groups that are the same. And then I think the 1.8 million was the original group. And I didn't show that one because it's a private group and I was going to show names. So I showed you the public group. The public group has less members, but the original group has the 1.8 million. And the posts in that group get a lot of reactions. And if you go back to the posts in April and May in lockdown last year, the pretty crazy posts, like all the music that I found for this performance, I found in that group where people were posting music, made ant playlists, making ant pun jokes. So, and what is funny, I guess, for me was when I started researching all these groups, let's a group where we all pretend and you scroll down, you scroll, and there's so many of the same groups, like a group where we pretend to be cats, a group where we pretend to be cats, a group where we pretend to be cats, a group where we pretend to be cats. Some have like 2 members, some have like 50 members, some have 2,000 members. So, and then it's always like, okay, which group will I join? You know, but the most popular ones are the ones with the most members. But there's so many versions of the same group. Yeah. Oh, I can show you. I have an Excel. Like, I don't know. What do you think? Should I show this to you or?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So when I started researching this, I share screen. I started documenting them in this very researching way. And so then, because I was scared that, because I went back on Facebook and I started looking for groups that I had seen, but then, for example, a group where we all pretend to be crabs on the beach, but I couldn't find it. And it was stressing me out a little bit because I actually realized that the Facebook search is very strange and it doesn't search very well. It doesn't show you everything. And so then I started freaking out and I started like putting all these links so that I would find the groups again, because you can find the groups, but sometimes you can't find them through search and you have to just type the group in the exact right spelling. And so that's why I started making this list, and I had like 100 in this list, but it's like nothing. I think there are way more than this. But then also my Facebook stopped showing me some of the groups because it only shows you things that you've searched for. And then when I created my new account, it showed me more groups, but now it's showing me less groups. So it's a little bit frustrating. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to think that the search function of Facebook is also, of course, using algorithms to sort the groups, you know, and to decide which ones to show you and which ones don't show. I was also thinking that it makes sense also to have these groups, as Facebook is well known as well to host other, like for instance, quite harmful groups of like far right ideologies and this kind of other contents that are, I guess, much more visible on the mass media than this kind of more playful and role-playing groups. Another question just popped up on the chat saying, what do you plan to do with the research? Write a book or a paper?
So yeah, there's a lot. I guess I have some information with these 100 groups. I'm not sure what else to do right now, but I am interested in also the rules of the groups and the questions that they ask you when you enter the group. Mm-hmm. Like I can also show you a desktop share. And so these are, like, for example, some questions that they will ask you, like a group where you can only say meow, like meow. Do you agree to communicate in meows? And you say yes. And then what else do I have?
It's the equivalent of the CAPTCHA, are you human, basically.
A group where we all pretend to be aliens. So what are you?
Those are trickier, no?
Do you promise to chuck out all alien babies? Yeah, so and each group that I've joined has some of these questions. Well, they will like tell you, oh, you should answer this. It will be easier for you to join the group. And so I really enjoy these questions a lot. And so I might keep documenting these questions because I think they're very nice.
Yeah, so we look forward to see the developments of this project, which is really promising. And we thank you a lot for this great performance. I think, is there maybe one last question, like if you were to create a group, what would that be?
Yeah, so if I were to create a group, which I have, and I will share it with you, it would be...
The suspense is killing us.
Wait, I can share my screen again. Okay. Okay, so this is a group that I created to make fun of Marco and John. And it is called a group where we all pretend to be digital curators of digital programs. So I put like Marco's job and John's job together, and I've created a position called digital curators of digital programs. And this is a digital curator of digital programs.
Great.
And
so we
then,
invite everybody to join this group.
So you can join it if you want. It was important for me to make this and for it to exist in the so-called metaverse. And I am the content moderator. Then, so about this group, we are digital curators. We are curators of digital programs. And then some group rules that you have to know about. We are not normal curators. Please do not post any normal curator talk or content. No posting about how you're a digital curator of digital programs in real life. Do not brag about your real life digital curator of digital programs day job. This is not a support group. Do not post pictures of hurt, broken, breaking digital curators of digital programs. We do not offer support or give advice. We, digital curators of digital programs, like to screen walk, screenshot, screen grab. we did not put the post in post photography, but we like it a lot. We do not report ever, seriously, never report. In order to forever challenge established museological practices, we cannot get Zooked or Zuckerberg. Please do not report posts. The budget is the budget. Please plan your show within the given budget. There you go.
Thank you so much, Laura. Joanna, touched by this wonderful gift.
What a great ending. Yeah, we invite everyone to join the group, of course. There's in fact some, you have it, Laura just pasted it on the chat. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the performance and also for all the insights on these groups that you are not only researched, also performed. Yeah, thank you also everyone who has joined here on Zoom and on Twitch. And Marco, I don't know if you want to introduce our next Skillwork as well.
Yes, we're back in 2 weeks again with Rosa Menkman, ladies and gentlemen. That is on the 15th of December.
That's it.